Hey everyone, we're gonna get started here in just a few minutes. I just wanted to make everyone aware that over on the right hand side, as long as you're not full screen, you have the option to click on say something, and then you can click the arrow to submit whatever comment you want to make or if you have any questions during our meeting. Okay. We're going to get started here pretty soon. I just wanted to let everybody know that joined in recently that we can't hear you. We can't hear you through the live session, but you can type in comments over on the right hand side. There will be a chat bar. You can just click on say something, type in your comment, and then submit it. But no, there's no way to talk to us over your microphones. I'll try to pay close attention to everybody's questions and address them as we continue on with the presentation.
Randy and Will, if you see questions.
If you have people having trouble connecting in your building that you know of, ask them to try the new link. We sent a new link out because the old one wasn't working for some people. I'm going to give it a couple more minutes just to see if we're going to get any more people to join in here, and then I'll get started. if there's anyone else that's having trouble joining in, can you let me know in the chat if you know of anybody else in your building. Otherwise, we're going to get started here in about a minute. Okay, we're going to get started here. For anybody that's having trouble joining, this will be recorded. It'll just take some time to be uploaded to YouTube, and we'll send links out whenever we have that available. All right, first things first, we're going to go over webcams. You might not have them in your building yet. Some of you might have laptops and have webcams already. I think your principals were working on getting you webcams for everybody in the building that doesn't have one already. I'm just going to go over some of the basics first. Your webcam should look pretty similar to this whenever you receive it. It just plugs in your computer with a single USB cable. As soon as you plug it in, give it a minute or two, and it should be automatically registered, and you shouldn't have to do anything else with it. The camera doesn't fit on all monitors either, so you'll want to make sure it's adjusted and good before you start a Google Meet session or anything if you need to use it. And it has a blue light on the side there that indicates whether or not it's in use by any of your applications. And I'm going to show you a live view of these arms that some of you might be getting in your schools here. Some of you might be receiving these arms here, and the webcam screws right into the top of it. There's a, get it off here real quick. There's some threading on the bottom of the camera, and then you have threading on the arm here. You just put it on and screw it on, and you'll be able to use this camera as a document camera. And you can also just leave it mounted on here and use it as a regular webcam too. Next, we're going to go over using Google Meet and how it integrates with Google Classroom. The first thing you'll want to do is go to your classroom, make sure you're signed in to your teacher account. Most of you already know how to do that. I've set up a new classroom for this purpose, just to give you an idea of what everything looks like from the start. Also, on the left-hand side here, we have a teacher view. So you'll be able to see how things work on the teacher side of things. And then on the right-hand side here, we have a student view, so you can see what the students are seeing on their side. So first things first, you'll go into your Google Classroom, and if you haven't set this up yet, you're going to generate a Meet link. You'll have to click the Generate Meet Link button. And here you have the option to make this link available to the students or not. If you don't have it visible here, there'll be an indication here with an eye with a line through it, showing you that it's not visible to the students. So when the students go into your class here, nothing's going to be presented to them up here for a Meet link. And this camera here indicates that that Meet link is now available to the students. So if I refresh the page over here from the student view, it's going to show up. You can go into your settings here at any time, and you can disable the visibility of the Meet link. And you also have the option to click on this drop-down menu, and you can reset the code if for any reason kids have trouble joining your Meet that are within your Google Classroom. Right now I'm going to leave this on, and we're going to save this. Okay, first things first, before you even get started with getting your Meet, you're going to want to make sure that you go over to your People tab and you have your Google Classroom set up already with all the students that you need to join into your Google Meet session. Anybody that's not within this list is not going to be able to go to this your classroom and click on this link and easily get into the Google Meet. They're going to have to request access, and that's a little more difficult, or you can invite them individually if they're not in your classroom, but everything works a lot easier if you have all your students built out in your classroom here. And I think most of you know how to do that. If you can either share this class code with your students to get them into your class, that's probably the easiest way to do it. Or you can go over to the People tab and add whatever students you need in your classroom. And keep in mind, if you have multiple classrooms, you're going to need to set up this Meet link for each individual classroom. And you'll also have your students in your list here too that you'll need to make sure are populated. So we're going to get started with Google Meet. All you have to do is go to the class that you want to present with. Oh yeah, and one other thing before I start that, if you need to let students know that you're going to be hosting a Meet session, you can easily tell them in the stream here. They'll get an email notification that with this message saying that I'm starting a session today at 9:30, and it'll also show up in their Google Meet or Google Classroom rather. So all you have to do to start the Meet session is to click on that link at the top of your classroom. And right now we're in the meeting room. You can choose whether or not to disable your webcam and microphone before you even get started if you want to prepare some things and you don't want students to see you as soon as you join the your Google Meet session. And once you're ready to go, you'll have to click Join Now. And keep in mind, until you click that Join Now button, students are not going to be able to join your Google Meet session. Now, from the student's point of view, they'll just go to your classroom, they'll click on that same link, and then they have those same options that you had earlier with they can turn off their microphone in advance, and they can also turn off their webcam. And then all they have to do is click Join Now to get in. Okay, now you can see that we have students joining. If you want to see your entire class list, you would just come up here to show everyone, and you can see who's currently in the Meet session. The first thing you're probably going to want to do when you get in here is determine whether or not you want students sharing their screen. If you don't, you can turn that off, because if you don't, students can just share their screen at any time, and that'll show up on these lists of views, and it can also disrupt other students as it'll show up on their screens as well. And another thing is these chat messages, you can disable those, because every time a student sends a chat message, I'll show you here real quick. You're going to get pop-ups like that. So if that's going to annoy you and disrupt the class, you're going to want to turn that off. And keep in mind, at any time, if you need them to use these features, you can always come back into these host controls and just enable them. This option up here, quick access, if you have that turned off, everybody, even people within your Google Classroom, are going to need to be approved into your Meet session here. So to keep things easy, it's probably best to just keep that on, so everybody can just get joined in to your Meet session right away, and you don't have to approve everyone.
Mr. Carlo, please report to the office. Mr. Carlo, please report to the office.
Okay, and then the next thing we've been telling teachers is whenever you have students first getting into the Google Meet, because we've had issues up here at the high school with students having things going on in their background if they have their webcam enabled that aren't school appropriate and can disrupt the classroom is to come down here in the lower right hand corner, click on these three dots, and then change their background. And what that's going to do is blur everything out behind them. It's going to work a little bit better when there's actually a face in there. It'll mostly just show their face, and everything behind them is going to be blurred out or a lot harder to see. We also have a guide on that too, so if needed, we can send that out to people. Sorry about that. I heard that we had some connectivity issues there. So what I was showing was over here you can change the background, and that's a good first task for the students whenever they first get signed in, to kind of blur out things behind them and kind of prevent things in the background going on at the student's house from disrupting your class. The next thing I'm going to show you is you have the ability to record your meetings. So down here on the lower right hand corner, you have the three dots. You just click record meeting. Okay, sorry about that. I think we were having what was the last thing you guys heard from me, so I can kind of go back and go over anything that we missed? Did you guys hear me talk about recording?
You want this on that computer on? We're not getting enough video to maintain it. We went down to actually to nothing. And you can just get change from now to then so you try to go onto it on screen.
Can you guys all hear me out there? Okay.
Go back to expert.
All right. So yeah, if you want to start recording, all you have to do is click the three dots and click record meeting, and then you can go on with any type of lesson. You can present things down here, and I'm going to stop the recording just to kind of help with the connectivity issues that we're having here. And later on I'm going to show you where that recording goes. So to stop recording, you'll click the three dots again, and then click stop recording. And the larger the video is, the longer it's going to take to process in your drive. And one thing that some teachers have already been doing is, once that's done recording, is they can just post that video, any of their lessons that they've recorded, to their Google Classroom. Then all students can view that material later if they were unable to make the class the first time. Oh, and another thing you can do is change your layout here, so things on your screen show up differently. Say you have more than 16 kids in your class, you want to be able to see them all. You can take this slider up to 49 available windows, and that'll display more students at once. You also have these other options too to get different types of views, but the tiled view is going to give you the most screens at once. Okay, and then the next thing I'm going to show you is how to present. There's a Present Now button here. You have three options. A tab is only going to present a specific tab to the students. So I'll show you that here right now. Click a tab. I have this YouTube tab open here that I want to present to the students, and then you just click share. And now from that student point of view, we can see everything that is being presented by the teacher here. Keep in mind, if you're switching between these other tabs, they're not going to be able to see anything. They can only see what you're presenting, and this box right here, this blue rectangle, indicates which tab is currently being presented. And then when you're done presenting, you can click the presenting option down here and click stop presenting, and that'll end that presentation. The next option I'm going to show you is a window, and you can use this with any program. Say you have Smart Notebook files, you have a Word document, you have a PowerPoint presentation. Maybe you just want to show a separate Google Chrome window instead of one that we have open here. One thing I will say about this, because teachers have been asking about this in high school, if you want to present a Smart Notebook lesson, you can do that and use your pens. But if you're wanting to use your smartboard on something like Google Chrome or anything other than Smart Notebook, honestly, it's not going to show up because it uses a Smart Ink app to, and it's separate. And since you're selecting a window, it's not going to show those drawings that you're using. I'll show you here right now what I mean by that. I'm going to grab a new window here. Okay, it's finally up here. Alright, so like I was saying, if you wanted to present a Smart Notebook lesson, for example, you can do that. with the window presentation, and you would just select your Smart Notebook document right here. Okay, my laptop's kind of having some difficulties here handling all these things at once, so I'm going to stop Smart Notebook here.
Just stop where you were at. What's going on with the
Hey, it looks like we're having some trouble getting this laptop can handle throwing at it right now. Can everybody still hear me? The better machine to do this. Alright, no, just Chrome. Okay, I'm not going to throw too many more things at this laptop, so I don't want to crash it again. So I'm back in my Steam account. Yeah. Everyone, if you're having trouble seeing what we're doing, you should be able to refresh the page and it should come back up. Okay. Alright, just checking in with everyone to make sure everybody can hear me right now. Alright guys, I guess we're back. I'm not going to throw as many applications at this thing because obviously the laptop can't keep up with it. So, going back to what I was presenting before, you can choose a window here, and you can choose anything like a smart notebook document, a Word document, a PowerPoint presentation. You could choose an entirely different Chrome window. Like for example, I could show the students window right now. And then anything I do over here, the student's going to see on here. And that'll be true about anything that you open up. One thing though, if you are presenting one smart notebook document or anything, if you close it, it's going to stop the presentation. So you'll have to start your presentation all over again. And then your last option is your entire screen. What that means is anything that you have up on your screen right now, the student's going to be able to see. So we're going to try it here, and hopefully I don't make this too hard on the laptop here. If you have multiple screens, you're going to have the option to select whichever screen you want to show. So I guess from a teacher's point of view, it might be best to, on screen 1, you have your Google Meet running and everything so you can see all your students. And then on screen 2, if you have one, you could just share that entire screen. Then anything you pull up, your Smart Notebook documents, your Google Chrome tabs that you want them to see will just be available to them. And it's honestly probably the easiest way to present things, because anything you move to that screen, the student will be able to see. It's going to get really crazy over here because I have a teacher view and a student view working on the same screen here. So you can see anything that I pull up on this window, it's showing up on that student screen now. And at any time, students can also pin things. So if they don't want to see kids in their class here, they can choose pin on what you're displaying, what you're sharing, and then they're going to get a full screen view of what you're displaying. And then once again, when you're done presenting, come down here and click Stop Presenting. Keep in mind you can present all those things and have it recorded, and students will see that in the recording later on. So I was trying to show you using a smartboard before. You can use your smartboard. Going over that one more time, you can choose a window if you're using Smart Notebook and select a certain Smart Notebook document. But as soon as you close that document, it's going to close your presentation down. You can draw anything on it. Students will be able to see it. But if you try to draw on Google Chrome with your smartboard, for example, students aren't going to be able to see that just because Smart Ink is a separate application. You can only select one application at a time with the window presentation view. If you want them to see everything on another application like Google Chrome, you want to use your smartboard, you're going to have to present your entire screen. I'm going to try to open up the camera app here real quick so I can show you how to use that as a document camera. You can use you can use this window presentation mode too for if you have document camera software, and as long as you're using the built-in tools in that document camera software, the students will be able to see whatever you're drawing on that, whatever you're presenting. So hopefully don't stress this thing out too much here. Okay, cool. So I have, and by the way, this camera app is going to work on any type of camera that you have, including your document camera. And the same thing stands with that too. You can see I'm adjusting the arm here to give students that view like a document camera would. And as I was saying before, you can use your smartboard on this app, but you'll have to make sure that you're just if you're presenting in your entire screen rather than a window, because if you go to try to draw on that, it's not going to show up in this for the students to see. You have to present the entire screen for them to be able to see everything you're drawing on here, and that's pretty much it with that. But like I said before, if you're using, trying to think of what that app's called, I think it's the A+ suite that comes with some of the document cameras that you might have in your room. you can use the built-in tools. You can present in a window mode, and they'll be able to see everything you're drawing on that. The next thing I'm going to show is this mute all feature. That's not built in by default. That's something you have to go out to the Chrome Web Store and install ahead of time. And what that's going to do is mute all the kids in your classroom. So if you have some kids being disruptive, you just come up, push this button one time, and they're all muted. They can unmute themselves, come back up again, mute them again. And yeah, I mean, you can warn them, you can do whatever you need to. And if the kid continues to be disruptive, you can open up your people list here, find the student, and by the way, you can also see who's muted and not muted, so that makes it really easy to figure out who's being the disruptive one. And click these three dots to the right of their name and just remove them from the meeting. And once you do that, they're not going to be able to join in or request to join in. So, and if you do that, and you need them to join, say, the next day, for example, we'll have to regenerate a Meet link like I just showed you guys earlier. I'll show you one more time once we get out of this Google Meet session here. If you're interested in this Mute All User extension, all you have to do is just open up a new tab. You can type in Google, or sorry, it's the Chrome Web Store, and that's going to be your first option. And then in the search bar here, you can type in Mute All on Meet. And it's going to be that first extension right here. You just click on that, and you'll have a blue button here that says Add Extension. And remember, you're going to have this installed before you start your Meet session, otherwise you won't be able to use the button. Alright, so I got a question here going over the document camera again. I'm going to just start from the beginning there, because I know it's probably kind of confusing. I kind of threw a lot of things at you at once. So your presentation view here, down here, you want to show off your document camera to the student. If you're using this, I don't have it open right now. I'm going to open it back up here. If you're using one of these webcams that I have here in the picture here, and not an actual document camera with its software, and you're using this camera app, if you go to draw on this when you're presenting to the students, they're not going to be able to see anything that you're drawing on it unless you click on present your entire screen. If you do a window and you're using this camera app, it is not going to show anything that you're drawing from your smartboard, because Smart Ink is a separate application from this camera app, and this present a window only allows you to display one app to the student at a time. So if you click your entire screen, everything you draw on here, the student will be able to see. We also do have other extensions that we recommend One of them is this attendance extension. I'm not going to go into great detail about it today. We do have a video covering that, and we can send you links to it later on. And we also have another grid view extension that kind of adds a little bit more functionality to your Google Meet session versus the built-in layout views that Google gives you. Alright, so whenever you're all done with your presentation and you're done recording, make sure you stop your recording because this will continue on. And you're ready to get to your next class. Before you leave, you're going to want to make sure that you come in here and all your students have left, because if they don't, your students can just sit in here and talk to each other, do whatever they want basically. This is now their chat room because they weren't removed from it. But if they leave and you leave after they leave, they won't be able to join that Google Meet session again until you start it back up. If you have some kids in here that don't want to leave and are just being really difficult, like I showed you before, just come over here, right click or click on the three dots here next to their name and just remove them from the meeting. And when you do that, and everybody's gone, you can come down here and leave the call. As you can see from the student view, like I said, I'm still in here. I can do whatever I want because I didn't leave. But as a teacher, I do have the ability to join back in. I'm still the host. And now I'm going to remove them from the meeting. Now they're not going to be able to get back in until I'll even go back and show you here. And that's what they're going to be presented with if they get kicked out of the meeting. So once everybody's out of here, you can click on this phone down here to leave the call. Then you can go back to your classroom. I need to show you one other thing. Once you've kicked people from the meeting, they're not going to be able to go back into this class here and just click on this link again. Even if you start the meeting up and you're in it, you're going to need to go up here to the settings, scroll down until you see Meet, and reset that. And until you do that, the student that you kicked over here, or if there's multiple students, they're not going to be able to join back in until you do that. So now you can see we got a new link here and they'll be able to get back in. Oh, and one last thing I want to show you guys is where the recordings are saved. You're going to have to go to your Google Drive. I'll just show you from and then you have a folder up here called Meet Recordings. As you can see, we have quite a few in here. But you can pull these out of here, you can organize them, put them in whatever folder you want, put them in your Google Classroom so students can see. You just right click, get a link, copy the link, back to your class, and you can either go and create a new assignment in here, throw this video in, and then you could put like a Google form, for example, and have like a little mini quiz just to give you that notification that the student watched the video, the student completed the assignment, and you you know they participated in class that day. I think that was mostly everything that we were going to show. I'm going to look at the questions here real quick and see if I can answer anything.
Good question for you. Do you recommend having the Google Meet link visible to students until you are using it?
That depends. It doesn't really matter if it's visible or not, per se, because the students can't join in the Meet link unless you're there and you're hosting the Meet session. But if you don't want them to be able to see it, yeah, I mean, that's your preference. But like I said, students don't have the ability to join in and just into that Meet session without you being there, unless they were sitting there and you didn't remove them, or they didn't leave before you left from a previous class. Does anybody else have any questions that I can answer here? One thing I just want to point out too, because a lot of you guys are asking about extensions. I'd be careful about adding too many extensions, because the more you add, the more you have to kind of troubleshoot with if one of them's causing an issue. So I'd try to keep it as clean as possible and use the built-in features to Google Meet. No, there's no way to prevent kids from changing their background during a Meet right now. Yeah, just to answer Beth Foster's question about having two Google classroom groups and meeting with them both in Google Meet at the same time. I don't believe there's any way to do that other than if you were to physically paste in the one class and invite those students in. You could share that link with the students too. I'll go back to a meeting here real quick and show you where that is. I probably should have went over that actually. Um, yeah, so whenever you first join in this meeting here, you get a Meet link here. You can just copy this joining info actually at this button here, and then go back to your Google Classroom, and you can, well, it would be your secondary classroom, and you would just paste that information in there in the second classroom. And now on the student side, they'll be able to just click on that link here, and they'll join in the same way. That's probably the quickest and easiest way to do it. You might want to reference like a time too. Today at 9 o'clock, or tomorrow at 10, or whatever, but you'll have to make sure that you don't refresh this link too. It's probably best to do it the same day. Alright, I see Tom's question here. Yeah, I'll go through some of the initial setup of the webcam again. Let me try to get this thing online here so you guys can see it. Okay. So the webcam plugs into, oops, sorry, get this situated here. Plugs into your computer with a single USB port here. So if it's not working, I would say first thing you want to do is unplug the cable and then just give it a few seconds and plug it back in. And then at that point, another thing I want to point out actually too, if you're on camera, like say you have a document camera and you have a laptop, say you have two cameras connected to your device, and Google Meet here, you can swap back and forth to what it's visually seeing as you. You can go into your settings here, and you can pick and choose which camera you want to display as yourself. And you also have control over what resolution settings you want to send and receive. And another thing is, if you want to turn this quality up, I would leave it at auto, but if you want to turn it up and just make everybody run at 720p, which I don't advise because some students don't have the best internet connections at home, I would leave these on auto. But if you were going to force 720p, the student also has to set up receive as 720p, otherwise they're not going to get that same resolution that you're sending out, that you're forcing. So it's best to just leave everything on auto and let Google figure out the best settings for you. And then audio also, if you have multiple microphones, so let's say you have your microphone built into your laptop on, and you also have one of these webcams, and you want to use the webcam microphone because it's just a better quality for you, you can come in here and switch between your webcams here, or sorry, your microphones. And you can also choose how you want the audio to come back to you through your speakers. You have your speaker options here too. And just a test, you have a test button here, and that'll play back a quick noise so you can verify that you have the right speakers set here. There's not really much troubleshooting to these webcams. I mean, either it's going to work or it's not. So, I mean, if you plug it in, it's not turning on, there's a chance that there's something hardware-wise not working with it, and it's just going to need to be replaced. I mean, if you drop them several times, eventually it's probably going to break. So, the first step is always to unplug it and plug it back in. Also, I don't know exactly. I see some questions here from Melody Fiscus about what she's going to be, what you're going to be getting. I don't have that answer, unfortunately. I'm just showing you what you can and can't do with the equipment you may or may not get. That's probably going to be a question for your building principal, whether or not you're going to be getting one of these arms and a webcam. Also, one thing I guess I should mention too with these webcams, if it's not showing up in Google Meet, you click on this lock up here. If you're a first-time Google Meet user here, you're going to get a prompt. You have to allow your camera and your microphone. You have to give permission to Google Meet. Otherwise, these things aren't going to work. So, say you accidentally, and actually this is a problem that's been popping up with the students too. If they don't allow their camera and microphone up here, they can come back in, click the lock, and just allow those things. It's going to refresh your page, but you should be able to join back into the Google Meet session. Does anybody else have any other questions that I can answer?